The life of every person can be analyzed through the prism of mind and heart model. Here is my biography. 1. I was born in 1988 in the country that does not exist anymore, the GDR, and received the citizenship of another country, the USSR, that does not exist anymore as well. 2. In April 2005 I met a warm and really magnetic graphologist in the National Research University of Electronic Technology, MET, in Zelenograd, Russia. She asked about my dreams, plans for the future. I said, I would like to be a banker, work in finance to be successful, rich. She replied, if money does not spoil you then you will have a pretty exciting future. At that time I was skeptical about her words, but now with all this knowledge I understand her as never before and, as you can see, I remember forever the magnetism and effulgence of that graphologist. 3. From 2005 to 2009 I was studying in the National Research University Higher School of Economics in Moscow and achieved the Bachelor of Economics, with specialization in financial markets. From that studying I remember the words of one of my teachers, Doctor of Sciences in Economics, for all my life, if for all people create ideal conditions with equality then people will become lazy and stop their development, which will lead to the collapse of the civilization. That is why the major task of the economics is to create and support inequality that lead to progress. His words did not resonate in my heart. In one seminar in November-December 2005 another teacher, Doctor of Historical Sciences, asked me, if war arise, will you also go to dig potatoes with labor force? I replied, in case of necessity me and all my classmates will join the labor force, because we are all equal. He tried to make fun of me among my peers and just laughed. 4. From 2009 to 2011 I was obsessed with stocks forex futures trading until I lost everything. At that time I met face to face with lawlessness, corruption in our business and judicial system. 5. From 2011 to 2013 I was working in some company where I met with slave labor and was shocked about the scale of inequality, but still was thinking how to survive in this rat maze, tried to build my social-oriented Google Alibaba company, but Russian lawlessness, corruption left much to be desired. 6. From 2013 to 2014 I was lucky enough to move to Sydney, Australia, and restarted to learn English. 7. From 2014 to 2016, I have finished Macquarie University and achieved double Master's degree, one in International Business and one in International Relations. After finishing Macquarie Uni I did not want to join the society of high-skilled, but narrow-minded and cold-hearted demons. I have already done it in Russia and know which way it leads to. On weekdays just go to any megalopolises downtown, and you will see what do I mean. So, I did not know what to do, but at the same time I had a need to support myself and pay daily bills. 8. From 2016 to 2017, I joined the labor force and started to work as a traffic controller in Evolution Company. Despite skeptical thinking about my downgrade from highly educated financial business analyst to a traffic controller, I still could not join the system, either in Russia or Australia, to become an egoistic demon. The heating up situation in Russia every day pushed me to join the system. Plus, the alluring laid-back life and chill-out atmosphere in Australia with all these good vibes in the air, a year-round sun with bikini girls on Sydney's beaches, unlimited access to swim, play volleyball and smiling girls in evening dresses in the streets tonight, only pushed me more to join the system. However, the thoughts of such unjust inequality between so-called developed and developing countries and all related to it negative emotions experienced during my childhood, adolescence and adulthood, such as one absurd situation has happened with me in a Macquarie Uni seminar when I represented an American NATO commander, Wesley Clark, who in 1999 literally had ordered to shoot Russian troops in Yugoslavia. Read, my father, who also was there. You can find a public version of that event in BBC. But from my childhood I remembered that moment as a Russian army helped NATO to fight against bad guys, and after successful operation my father came back to home, and brought me a Swiss Toblerone chocolate gifted by Americans, a pretty smart psychological trick by organizers demons, who put Milosevic to the Hague's tribunal and in prison. Both of my high-educated grandfathers who were born at the time of World War II, experienced a hungry childhood, due to a lot of injustice and grief throughout their life, drank of despair and early passed away. My great-grandfather, peeing in the bed with dream nightmares about World War II, who came back to home several years after the end of World War II, because he was hospitalist, and found that his wife after the Great Tribulation, she thought he had died, built a new family with another guy, from which she raised children. The profound sadness of my parents and the crippled life of all Soviet people, World War II affected every family in Russia. Could not be forgettable and vanished by the short size of an Aussie girl's skirt. My conversations with mature Australian people whose fathers were fighting on another side, against Soviets, only end up with mutual empathy, because we know who keeps organizing these mass crimes. The problem of educated people is when they become too knowledgeable they do not want to support the system. So, despite to all this visual appeal in Sydney, I deliberately took time off work as a traffic controller, to decide about my future. I spent all my time for reading, analyzing and thinking how can I help to prevent the now promoted upcoming revolution in Russia in November 5, 2017 and make this global world better. And finally, when I decided what to do to make this global world better and actually started to do it, I was enlightened. Literally, 25th of April, 2017 I had a feeling of opening chakra and a blissful feeling of joy in my mind. I know, it sounds incredible, but I am one of the most skeptical people in the world. It really works and I want everyone to teach how to achieve this condition and show what we need to do to achieve global happiness. In sum, despite seeming devolution, the Traffic Management Evolution Company contributed to my transformation to become a human. This is one of the best feeling I have ever experienced. Now we will consider the analogy between types of human psychodynamics and human brain. People with animal type of psychodynamics, like a crocodile, mostly rely on a basic, the oldest part of the brain, called a reptilian brain, where behavior predetermined by survival, fight-flight-freeze response, autopilot, breathing, swallowing, heartbeat instincts. In terms of the development, people with zombie type of psychodynamics are more advanced creatures. Zombies, similar to monkeys, lean on a limbic system, which responds for our emotions and social bonds, feelings, relationship nurturing, social hierarchy, politeness, body language, habits, images and dreams, memories, play. Demons with strong willpower figuratively can be compared with business sharks. Their demeanor is based on a superior, neocortex, new brain, which is responsible for thought, including planning, language, logic with will and awareness. If demons can be represented with sharks, then humans with their well-developed intuition are dolphins. In fact, humans as dolphins are the wisest creatures on earth that live in the same environment as demons sharks. However, among this ocean of opportunities they do not pursue a cutthroat competition. Dolphins just sing, play, and swim wherever they want. It looks like a potentialism concept for humanity. At the same time, when confrontation is unavoidable, a dolphin by using its rubber nose can attack and scare a shark. But again, a dolphin does not kill its opponent, it is too smart for that. Despite that, the modern mainstream science still did not discover openly publish what part of human mind intuition refers to. It is speculated that a pineal gland or so-called third eye is the foremost part of human brain, which responds for human's intuition, inspiration, visions and revelations. Some people named it as the epicenter of enlightenment, while according to René Descartes a pineal gland is the principal seat of the soul. If these considerations are true, then the information that fluoride calcifies the pineal gland is detrimental to your spiritual growth and development as a human. Before finishing this presentation, I would like to introduce you the biography of another human, German Sterleghof. 1. He was born in 1966 in the Moscow region. 2. From 1987 to 1988 he attended the law faculty of Lomonosov Moscow State University, but eventually dropped out. 3. In 1990, in his 24 years, German has built the 1ST Russian Commodities Exchange, that employed more than 2,500 people and had offices in New York City and London. At that time he became the 1ST official Russian millionaire. And had a connection, conversations with upper demons, Rothschild, Rockefeller. 4. In 2003, German had run for a Russian presidency. 5. After losing everything in 2004 he decided to become a farmer. 6. In 2008, he founded a charity project Sloboda, helped to many Orthodox Christians to move to settle on his land in the Moscow and Tversky regions. 7. Nowadays he believes in the Creator, and spreads knowledge about it. Promotes natural food, teach others how to do it. And fights with GMO. Yes, sometimes he does emotionally unbalanced. However, the point is that the Creator does not pay attention what language do you use. For him it is more important do you speak through your heart or not. So, try and analyze yourself through the prism of mind and heart model and, If you find yourself a non-human, ask yourself, why are you still there? I still want to add to what was said before about the authorities. There are people who are in power, for whom ordinary power is enough. Ordinary power, the kind of existed power for centuries, the normal power over people. It is a very mentally satisfying, strong for a man who likes the fact that he has power over people. This is normal. There is nothing surprising in it. And there are people who need a perverted power, and unfortunately these kind of people currently holds our power. They need a perverted power, they need a mega power. All these video cameras, chips, computers, absolute control, juvenile, who picks up kids, makes extracts from them, inject them into stem cells, transplant their organs, this kind of mega perverted power. And this mega perverted power is possible only in the city. Because in the wild, that's when people live on the farms, it is just impossible to bully over them. And that is why people who continue to live in the city,
they agree that Satanists and perverts will mock their children.
they agree with it and stay there. And people who are freedom-loving people, who still has a human dignity, who has an own volition, who love their children, who are able to act, they leave and escape from a concentration technogenic city. And really from the hands of these perverts from the government. And that is why the living a city is a characteristic of people. Are they remaining in a bondage of these bastards, or are they tearing to freedom? And it is an indicator of what kind of person you are now. So, this situation, it never was before in the world, because there was never before this technogenic perverted power. Because the damned scientists did not invent it before. Just now they figured out all of it, and continue to create more and more chains, and barbed wires with all these electronic collars, and it is possible only in the city. How does it possible here? Yes, in no way. If you hang a video camera over here, I'll break it in the next day and that's all, and we'll say this is how it was before. And, therefore, impede to get away from cities. Prevent, very much try to prevent, because they lose slaves. And their children for their next perversions. This is what I wanted to tell you, to add. Thank you. I hope that you have already understood the wide application of mind and heart model to our world. And now the time has come to make your choice. If you would like to waste your life by spending your potential energy in the work to purchase a bigger house, car, jewelry, whatever more expensive thing, animal, playing in digital democracy, zombie, or mining bitcoins and creating new tech gadgets for the microchip slavery, low-level demon, i.e. willingly or unwillingly support the current elite parasitic demons to manipulate people, then, literally, you can sell your soul and sign a contract with the devil, join the Illumicorp. Devil Corp, New World Order Corp. They are so desperate that already publicly recruit people.
Hello, initiates, and welcome to Module 1 of the Illumicorp video training course. I would like to officially welcome you as a member of the team. You've joined our organization at perhaps the most exciting point in our long history. Our founders shared a passionate dream to transform this country and eventually the whole world into one cohesive organization. When Illumicorp finishes gaining centralized control over the resources of the planet, and we will, we can then organize, distribute, and govern for the benefit of all. After competition and dissent are eliminated, we will build a utopia for the people of the world to share based on need and rejoice together in a harmonious new world. This presentation is designed to enlighten you about our organization's goals and achievements. As your guide, I will help to answer some basic questions you might have about Lumacorp and familiarize you with the valuable role you will play in helping us reach our prime objective. So please, take a tour with me as we march together towards an exciting new world. All people are aware of class. To them, society is made up of the rich, the middle, and the poor. The one thing that all three classes don't understand is that the pyramid continues upward. There is a detached hidden capstone made up of an elite board of directors who own and manage Illumicorp. The three classes below, in essence, become the assets and resources of Illumicorp. Illumicorp is divided into various administrative branches, but each branch has the same 5 levels in their hierarchy. You will begin at the bottom, in the initiate category. As such, your role will be to make sure that your orders are carried out through the sub-corporations and institutions controlled by Illumicorp. You will be placed in plain sight, at the head of a company or institution in the public sector, to carry out the plans delivered from above. Remember, your role is very important. You will be the face of Illumicorp to the outside world. You are our connection to the masses below. Never speak publicly about your orders or your masters. Now let's look at Illumicorp's 6 administrative branches and their functions. You will be placed in a top position of power among one of the following sectors. In this way, as you are monitored and guided from above, you will decide strategy and introduce programs that further our goals. But that is the secret to Illumicorp's success. Control the head, and you control the body. This is potentially Illumicorp's most effective instrument for global control. Through international banking, we manipulate the fate of all countries. We have introduced many institutions, such as the IMF and WTO, that work in our favor to impoverish disobedient nations. Always remember, debt is a powerful weapon against countries that don't share Illumicorp's vision. Perhaps our greatest achievement in banking is the Federal Reserve System. It is a collection of international banks owned by Illumicorp members and financiers. It was created to form a centralized banking system through the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, an act that was indeed penned by some of our most esteemed members. Many of you might still assume that the government itself prints and issues the currency. That is not the case. When America needs money, they go to our boys and ask for it. The money is printed, but it is only representative of a loan. Interest accrues on that dollar until it is paid back to the Fed. In fact, the federal taxes paid by the American population go almost entirely to paying off this debt. So you see, Illumicorp derives a healthy amount of its operation funding directly from the debt of the public. Needless to say, this is one of our most crucial sources of funding, and one of our proudest achievements here at Illumicorp. Through mergers and acquisitions, we have slowly and silently bought up the majority of U.S. industry. Illumicorp and its members own most of the oil, transport, banking, media, food and communications industries in America and abroad. Through fewer and fewer conglomerates, we are able to effect with great precision the machinations of labor and government. Ultimately, corporations will replace government as a centralized international body that can meet the needs of the public worldwide without the chaos created by national self-interest. When Illumicorp goes public, corporatism will be the foundation for world government. Conglomerates will merge into one cohesive corporation that is responsible only to Illumicorp and the needs of its global employment force. Illumicorp's control of the American military is another impressive tool in our possession. We have nurtured these institutions lavishly to serve as the prototype for our global police force. When ready, our technology and manpower will dominate those who oppose the coming new world order. By utilizing American patriotism, we have fostered in the American soldier the philosophy of peace through superior force. When the time is right, we will migrate that mentality towards the belief in a global government who must protect all people through superior force. We have used the American military-industrial complex to build the arsenal necessary to instigate the final cleansing outlined in Illumicorp's great plan. Our primary target will be Islamic nations who will never submit to our Western-centric domination. They also hold much of the remaining oil reserve of the planet. Illumicorp must own that precious resource, as it is crucial in maintaining our domination over the countries of the world. Through Illumicorp's enormous federal funding of the military, we can develop new forms of warfare and population reduction. The public can't imagine what we were in the process of developing. Soon, even the weather will be a weapon under our control. We will be able to create droughts, floods, hurricanes, and even tsunamis with no fingerprints attached. The political system of America has been under direct control of Illumicorp for some time. It was actually a relatively easy acquisition, and has been even easier to manage. Politicians know of our unspoken agreement, and will do anything to stay in power. A two-party system benefits Illumicorp, in that it reduces all issues into a black and white debate. Through media, we can play side against side, using each when necessary to support our goals. Due to a diminishing faith in the system among the public, Illumicorp has designed a rogue candidate program to provide a voice for the dispossessed. This disperses the impetus for dissent among those who do not feel represented by our candidates and builds a database of potential dissidents. At the turn of the last century, Illumicorp took a serious interest in public education. Our Supreme Council realized that by creating a private organization to dictate curriculum on a federal level, children could be conditioned into obedience on a mass scale. In the interest of promoting Illumicorp principles in the classroom, hundreds of millions of dollars were invested to create the General Education Board in 1902. The result of doing this is evident today. The doctrines of public education have transformed recent generations into a weaker, more docile mass. Through meticulously planned curriculum, we have control over the process by which the average child learns. Thus, we can mold them into obedient workers who are conditioned to accept the implementation of the Great Plan. In addition, Illumicorp has set up many associations, including the American Historical Association, that determine and uphold the official view of history. Knowledge is power, so we must at all costs be the authors of the truth. By writing history to suit our interests, dissenting voices cannot gain ground, and we can vastly influence culture to achieve our prime objective. Illumicorp uses the media to shape the public's opinion about current events and condition desired attitudes about our future agenda. Through news, entertainment, and advertising, we can program a variety of emotions and responses into the collective unconscious. In the past, we were limited entirely to print media, but now we have multiple mediums to utilize in programming and conditioning the masses. With cable news, we have directed the public to a more entertainment-based consumption of world events, infotainment. This medium is far more effective at subliminal reinforcement of desired attitudes towards our objectives. For instance, we are currently instilling a sense of duty towards environmental issues. With our growing control of the weather through HARP and chemtrails, we will scare the public into accepting our global protection agendas. We will then phase into the great cleansing which must occur to return the global population to a manageable size. We reinforce the desired norm through advertising, creating a model for people to live up to that is virtually impossible. The result is an incomplete, desperate individual seeking acceptance. Through reality television game shows, we repeat the pattern of individual survival versus group survival. This breaks down the idea of community and breeds individuals who seek only their self-interest. With a public that is constantly suspicious and scheming, we maintain the status quo of a divided population that never thinks to look up. Religion has served its purpose incredibly well. It is the oldest and perhaps the broadest form of social control utilized by Illumicorp. With religion, there is a written code of conduct that must be followed. The authors of the Holy Scriptures knew quite well how to lace that code with commands to maintain their dominance over the population. This system has survived through millennia to hold the flock together and bring us to today. Admittedly, religion is losing its power for control. However, the fanaticism that has arisen due to this decline is particularly helpful to Illumicorp. Our invisible influence in the Church has helped bring the Christian fundamentalists out of the background. We control their opinions on current issues through policies designed and written right here at Illumicorp headquarters. They are sent to our ministers, who then preach the Word of God and their interpretations of the Bible to their followers. Their blind faith is used to transform them into willing soldiers to defend our cause during the catastrophes ahead. As the final phase is enacted, we will propagate end-time prophecy to convince them of their convictions. The rise of Islamic fundamentalism works to Illumicorp's advantage as a threat that will demand violent action. In the coming years, planned terrorist attacks will warrant a full-scale retaliation and initiate the final phase of the Great Plan. Christians will support our actions, since they will believe them to be proof of the end times prophesied by Illumicorp's religious leaders. Now that you have a basic understanding of how we work over here at Illumicorp, I would like to introduce you to one of our latest projects, the Control Grid. Since ancient times, it has been the desire of the Illumins to wield control of the masses below, both to protect us from them and them from themselves. The tools through the ages have been effective, but always blunt and inaccurate. But now, with the release of new technology to the masses, we have the real ability to implement a control grid with finance, industry, government, and military under our strict control. we can safely shift the population into a new world, monitored and controlled by Illumicorp. Technology such as the internet, GPS, and RFID chips are pillars of the invisible prison we are erecting around the people. Within the decade, we will have real ID cards that contain criminal records and pertinent information, all linked to federal databases. Cell phones will tell us where each individual is, linked to the same database. Through intelligence agencies and Homeland Security, we will monitor individuals who oppose the Great Plan and remove them from the grid. Quickly, the population will learn that they have a choice: support the system and benefit from its luxuries, or reject it and lose access to the grid. Well, that was quite an overview. I hope it gave you an understanding of our process and basic overall structure here at Illumicorp. Don't worry if you can't remember specific details at the moment. Once assigned to your administrative branch, you will be shown the second Illumicorp training module. Your initiate supervisor will brief you on your specific duties at that point. Also, please review your copy of the Great Plan and the attached code word and symbols booklet. You will need to know the ways we communicate internally through public channels. This concludes Part 1 of the Illumicorp video training module. I wish you the best of luck, and may our plan complete in secrecy. The dawn of a new era is on the horizon, and it will shine gloriously over the new world that we have built together.
On the other hand, you can choose to become a human and harmonically develop your mind and heart, constantly pursue the maximum unfoldment of own potential and possibilities, creativity, conjointly helping to and sharing with others, until one day, just believe me, will happen an intuition occurrence, a spiritual insight, the light of which outshines any egoistic demon's willpower, zombie's habits, or animal's instincts. Compared with the execution of elite S orders, this is a hard and thorny path. However, it is the way supposed to you by your Creator. The choice, of course, is up to you. I will leave you with my motto in life: sometimes, it is easier to change the silly world, than to change yourself.
Жили в дремучем лесу. играл девицу красу. Днем с любовницей тешился, ночью набеги творил. Вдруг у разбойника лютого совесть Господь бросил своих он товарищей, бросил